Hello and welcome to the Late Lunch podcast, live from the allotment.
I think you're quite obsessed with puns, Ben.
Am I? Do you think?
But they make me smile, so never change.
Oh, thank you so much.
Speaking of change, this month, Tanya Anderson, is a particularly busy one at the allotment, isn't it?
It is. So the last time you visited, it was April. Things were just starting to grow. We were getting a lot of rain at the time, but not as much sunshine. Now, that combination of rain and sunshine means everything is exploding. Weeds, everything, but veg as well. So the potatoes we were just discussing, the last time you were here, they were just tiny little things sprouting out of the ground. And now they're coming up out of their second layer of manure, and they're going to be ready to harvest, or at least some of them, at the end of next month.
Now, you were just saying something before we came on air really interesting, and that's the fact that gardening really is about trying things, about seeing what works, seeing what doesn't, and you say you still make loads of mistakes, and we wouldn't know looking at your plot here.
It's a learning experience. It's not a destination. You don't become a gardener and know everything. There's all plants, new techniques, even simple things that people take for granted. So there should be no fear in gardening. You should just do it and expect to make mistakes, but also to learn from them.
Can you show us then how to plant something this month?
Yes, so I've got some beans here. I've got some elephant garlic that needs to go out, some alpine strawberries, but I think we should start with the beans.
Okay, so what kind of beans are they?
So these are a French bean, and these are ones that I've actually purchased. I've got French beans, so Cobra, that I've grown from seed. They're going at home. But I was at a garden center and I saw these and I thought, let's give them a go, because I've never grown these when they've been so many in one pot and they just look so healthy. I've had them growing on in the greenhouse at home. And I love French beans. You have to be careful with the type of bean that you buy. If you're into runner beans and eating runner beans, then go for it. But if you're not, don't grow them, because they do produce a lot, and the distinction between the two varieties is subtle sometimes when you're buying plants that are already grown. So we're going to plant these here at this wigwam, or actually you guys are going to plant them.
Oh, looking forward to that. Holly is with us this afternoon. Holly, you learned about beans at school. Can you remember what you did for French beans?
Ooh la la.
Ooh la la.
Ooh la la.
For the French beans.
And they did running for the running beans, you see?
Oh,
It's
very
good. It's too much. Okay, so we've got a wigwam.
Yeah, we've got the wigwam. So, I mean, this is just bamboo canes, is it?
Bamboo canes stuck in the ground, tied with some string at the top. That's all you need. You can do it much taller. These will grow and grow and grow if you don't pinch out the growing tops. So you could have it much taller. There are other structures as well that you can grow these on. But up here at the allotment, it's very exposed. There's a lot of wind. So wigwams is definitely the way to go for these and sweet peas and things like that. They're just a bit more sturdy. And what we'll do is we're going to plant just a pot of these beans at the base of one of those canes, lightly tie them in, and then we're going to protect it with some fleece so that the bunnies don't get at it, and then let them grow.
I love that idea.
Okay, Christy, I think if I hold the microphones
Okay.
here, I think it's time for you to get your hands
I'm gonna go in
dirty.
here.
This is also being videoed as well, so you can see Christy in action, our gardener extraordinaire. What is that, Tanya? What is that?
So this is my favorite gardening tool. It's like a mini Dutch hoe, and I use it for practically everything. So what we're going to do is we're going to plant a plant behind each one of the canes. So we're going to do it behind rather than in front, so that we can put the fleece around and it won't damage it. And then we're going to bring the hose around and give it a good water.
Fantastic.
I'm admiring Beth's mic work here. This is impressive. 2 mics at the same time.
Okay, so the Dutch hoe is in action.
Do the plants need separating out, or can they all go in as one?
I think that we can just plant them all as one in this case. I just want to see how they grow all together with all those stems, because this is how a lot of people are buying beans. And I want to know what to expect so that I can recommend whether or not this is a good idea or not to people in the future. It's so often that plants that you get in garden centers, they're almost designed to fail in a way. So buying things like parsnips that are in modules, bad idea, because
Okay.
when those roots hit any side of the module, they immediately start curling up. So if you plant them out, carrots as well, they'll just turn into a tangled mess every time. And a beginner gardener would see that as something that they did wrong. Now with the beans, they're almost always sold in a module like this with 4 or 5 stems coming out, and those are all individual plants. And I've never grown them like this before, so I'm really curious to see how they'll grow.
Okay.
So don't bury it underneath that level of the soil already. So just put it at that same level and then push the compost and soil back around.
So just like that, and then...
Exactly. And press it in pretty firmly. Yeah.
Do you feel quite attached to this now, Christy?
This is now my beans. These are mine.
No has-beens here.
Yeah. I'm gonna leave you with this Dutch hoe.
Okay.
You start on the
Is
next
that
one.
wise?
And I'm gonna go grab the water, and I'll leave you two to chat about beans.
Okay.
Holly, what do you make of this? This is quite exciting, isn't it? We're planting actual beans.
We planted beans at home, at school, but they're not quite the same. We planted like beans, and we've done an experiment about if no light, no water will still grow.
Oh, right, because plants need those things, don't they?
And we're taking things away from them.
And seeing what happens. Wow. And have any of them grown?
All of them, but some are starting to die.
Ah, because they haven't got water or they haven't got sunlight.
Yeah, or they haven't got air.
Okay. So do you like learning about plants and stuff at school?
Yeah. And now we're learning about Africa.
Oh, yes, you are learning about Africa at the moment.
Great job.
I
So,
got a second one in.
Brilliant.
So Tanya's back with the hose.
So we're going to give these a watering in. Holly, do you want to help water? Come over here.
This is where everybody gets drenched. We should probably stand
It's
out of
half
the way.
Fun. This is half the fun.
Just right
Oh, look
there.
at Holly. She's gardening.
Yeah, not on the plants.
Just on the ground.
Yeah, that's perfect.
So it's important just to do the ground and not get the plant themselves.
Yeah, well, first of all, it's wasting water. And second of all, it's moving the plants around. And there's also the danger of water on the leaves when it's high sun like now, and it could potentially scorch the leaves. That's more dangerous in a greenhouse scenario, but it could happen out here too.
So with that in mind then, when is the best time of the day to water your plants?
I would say in the evening, so that gives the plants time to take up the moisture, to relax over the night, and they're ready to go in the morning. And then the second best time to water is in the morning as well, before the sun starts coming out and beating down on the plants.
So if somebody takes an allotment here, but perhaps they haven't got the time to come up every single day, what do you do in that situation?
Well, you notice that on all of my beds, there's a layer of manure. If you put a layer of composted manure or garden compost on the top of the soil, it stops the soil from drying out. So you can see when Christy's digging down below, the soil is still moist down below.
It is.
It's protected. If you leave soil exposed to the sun, it will completely dry out. It will also give an opportunity for all the weed seeds to start sprouting. So mulch, mulch, mulch.
That is our late
So,
lunch motto.
Holly, what do you think has to happen to this plant now?
Water.
That's right.
You're absolutely right. Look at this. So, you know, Beth, you need to plant one of these, don't you? Because it needs to be, these will be our little late
Okay,
lunch
so-
French beans.
Oh yeah, you can plant one too, Holly. All right then.
Okay,
So-
let's go and get yourself some plants.
Right.
Do you want me to take the microphone, B?
Yeah, okay.
So, yeah, we're hoping that this inspires some of you out there to have a go at planting things yourselves. And I'm taking it then that these will just find their own way up these canes then, Tanya.
Well, first we're going to give them a little bit of initiative. So we're going to just lightly tie some string around them and then to the cane. And once they find the cane, they'll shoot right up.
Amazing. I'm so excited to see how they do. This is the joy of gardening is, you know, you put something in here as a small plant, especially when you've grown it from seed as well. And then you watch as they not only grow tall, but they give you something to eat. I mean, that's amazing.
Yes, something beautiful. Well, we were talking about children's gardening earlier. You can make a much larger wigwam. So probably like 3 times the circumference. And then when they all grow up, there's a teepee that kids can play in.
Oh, brilliant. Now that is just genius. And look, Holly's so into this now. So Beth's now planted hers and Holly's making sure, let's let Tanya help you. Holly's making sure that it has some water because she knows what to do next.
The pressure's really strong at first, so we have
I love the fact that Beth, if you're watching this on video, has got a little beanie baby whale or something, narwhal attached to her jeans. Holly is doing an awesome job here. Are there any families who've got plots up here, Tanya?
At the moment, I don't think we have any families, but we have had families in the past. And I think what happens with families is that they become overwhelmed by the time and commitment to weeds, really. But if you garden smart, if you mulch, like I mentioned before, you create paths, you reduce the work, it'll be much more enjoyable for not only small families or young families, but also everyone else.
And I know that obviously you have your blog and you have your YouTube channel and your Instagram, and so you're forever posting wonderful, helpful hints and tips. But if someone was to take a plot up here and you were around, are you happy for people to ask your advice?
Yes, but we also have a private group as well, Facebook group. And so if there's any questions and there's no one up here, then you can always go there and ask a question, or there's lots of people in the community. But of course, if I'm up here, I'm always happy to answer questions.
Should you be going around talking to your plants?
Yes, why not? Create a relationship with your plants. That's a relationship with nature in the end, isn't it?
Should you only be doing nice words?
Say only nice words to them.
Yes, that's right. And actually, plants love music.
Oh, do they?
Yes.
Oh, Christy, you could sing to them.
I don't think that would help. I could try. I think they might sort of start moving away, much like they move to the sunlight. If I sing to them, I think they'd probably move away. I'm intrigued as well, before we put that, I know you said you need to put some netting down on here. The purple sprouting broccoli, does that just stay now where it is?
There were some other plants here that I've just taken out. It's coming to the end of its life. And those purple sprouts are going to start flowering into bright yellow flowers at any time, because I'm pretty much sick of eating it. And so the yellow flowers will be food basically for bees and other pollinating insects. But once that flowers, the plant is basically spent and it needs to go in the compost pile anyway.